Today we're going to learn all kinds of interesting things about snuff on this episode of Antique Bottle Stories. For this bottle, there's really only one small story on the internet that's circulated on many websites. It goes something like this. Dr. Benjamin Marshall of Middlebury, Vermont, has been a practicing physician since 1821. So let's just stop right there. That information alone means that he was born in the late 1700s or so, and he began selling snuff in the 1830s. Charles Bowen of Montpelier, Vermont, became the sole proprietor of the snuff about 1840 and kept Marshall's name. It was sold by several proprietors after that, and they all kept Dr. Marshall's name. Let me give you a little bit about what the article says about Marshall's snuff from a newspaper, June 6, 1865. So we're talking right around the Civil War here. This snuff has thoroughly proved itself to be the best article known for curing the catarrh, a cold in the head, and headaches. It has been found an excellent remedy in many cases of sore eyes, deafness has been removed by it, and hearing has often been greatly improved by its use. It is fragrant and agreeable, gives immediate relief to the dull, heavy pains caused by diseases of the head. The sensation after using it are delightful and invigorating. It opens and purges out all obstructions, strengthens the glands, and gives a healthy action to the parts affected. More than 30 years of sale and the use of Dr. Marshall's catarrh and headache snuff has proved its great value for all the diseases of the head, and at this moment stands higher than ever before. Now here's an ad from 1895 being sold by F.C. Keith in Cleveland, Ohio for 25 cents. Recommended dosage according to the package. For catarrh and colds in the head directions. Inhale a pinch of snuff through each nostril 3 times a day, avoiding cold air for 1 hour afterward. Keep bottle well corked. So, what the heck is catarrh? I've never heard of it before today. The symptoms are stuffy nose, runny nose, irritating cough, headache, sinus pressure, and loss of smell and taste. So, we've all had catarrh many times in our life. It's just a head cold. But I know it's really hard to sleep when you have all that going on. So I guess if it helped, you gotta do what you gotta do to get some sleep. And here's another advertisement dated after 1906, when the FDA started cracking down on patent medicines and their questionable ingredients. Dr. Marshall's catarrh snuff contains no cocaine, morphine, or other injurious drugs. Most other remedies do. It's the pure old remedy for catarrh. The process of making snuff is tobacco leaves are grown, and then when it's picked, it's left out to ferment to a certain maturity. Then it's pulverized and spices are added to give snuff its different flavors. In the 15th century, during Columbus's second voyage of discovery, American Indians were seen sniffing a mysterious tobacco powder. Columbus took this snuff-taking habit back to Europe, and it became popular. Wikipedia suggests that snuff was introduced as a medicinal cure for ailments based on the old Indians' use. It could be true. After all, back in the 1700s, Native Indians were still prominent in many territories of America. Now, there were times of peace and there were times of war with the Indians. But in times of peace, I have read first-hand accounts when there was great camaraderie and a genuine interest in learning from each other. Early settlers had a preconceived notion that Indians were very wise and knowledgeable on medicinal plants and things like that. So there are many medicines in the 1800s that use that to their advantage, saying Indian this or Indian that, to gain the trust of the customer. Now, the latest date that I find anywhere out on the internet for any trace of Marshall's snuff is a patent renewal for Dr. Marshall's trademark on August 24, 1946, by Williams Manufacturing Company in Cleveland, Ohio. they're still using the Charles Bowen signature, and it's gone up from 25 cents 100 years ago to 30 cents here. So since this is a patent renewal, and they last, 10, 20 years? They could have been in business as late as the 1960s, maybe? That's not a bad run. 1830 to 1960s? Like a lot of businesses I researched, they just seem to fade away without much to do. A modern website that sells snuff says a few things that I thought were interesting. Directions. Start with small pinches. Take from the back of your hand or from your fingertips. Sniff the snuff only very gently. This will provide you with the most enjoyment. Take a few seconds after sniffing the pinch. In doing so, you will enjoy the flavor of the snuff to the fullest extent and the sparkling feeling of freshness. It goes on to say, snuff is a tobacco product and thus contains nicotine. The transfer of the nicotine into the body occurs fairly rapidly during sniffing. Nicotine in small quantities, as when enjoyed when consuming snuff, is certainly a stimulant. Since tobacco is not burned during sniffing, it does not disturb your neighbor, therefore it's the ideal alternative to smoking anywhere smoking is prohibited or frowned upon. This is certainly one reason why more and more people are turning towards the use of smokeless tobacco. The Cancer Research Group declares in their most recent studies that there's no conclusive evidence of cancers through nasal snuff. Here's a painting of a man taking snuff using the thumb and index finger method. Doesn't have a date though. Here's a kinetoscope of a guy named Fred Ott taking a pinch of snuff and then sneezing. This was taken back in 1894 by Thomas Edison's laboratory. When sniffed, snuff often causes a sneeze, though this is often seen by snuff takers as a sign of a beginner, but this is actually common. However, the tendency to sneeze varies with the person and with the particular snuff. Generally, drier snuffs are more likely to make you sneeze, and for this reason, snuff sellers usually sell handkerchiefs. My snuff bottle is aqua, blown in a mold, and has a tooled top. And I'm honestly not sure, but my best guess is that it's probably made between 1890 and 1910, during the Keith manufacturing. I see a lot of examples that say Qatar snuff on the side, but mine just says snuff. It says Dr. Marshall's on the other side. This is what it would look like if it had the label intact. They were closed with a cork and had a seal with wax to ensure freshness of the snuff. So what I thought was going to be a super short video because I couldn't find any story on the first two guys, it ended up being a fun adventure learning about snuff, which I've heard of before, but I just never really thought about what it was or what you actually did with it. So anyways, that's it for today. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.